What's up, guys? We are back to working on the 2JZ E36 again. It's a common trend. I'm really just trying to get this thing to be super reliable, easy to drive, and overall just a good car that doesn't need a lot of work and that I can take to competitions and just drive. We've had a few issues. If you saw the last episode, you would know that I stupidly forgot to put gas in the car right before my first battle in the top 32, so it started fuel cutting on me. And part of the reasoning for that is because my fuel gauge doesn't work. I had it working when I first did the JZ swap, but for some reason it's not working now, so we need to troubleshoot that. And the other thing that I want to do is fix the fuel slosh issue, because I can do like 5 laps and it starts fuel cutting right after filling the tank, because basically all of the fuel goes into the engine and then returns to the fuel tank on the side where there's no pump. And the only way that it gets from that side to the pump side is through a siphon, which takes quite a bit of time to siphon over into the pump side. So if you're doing a bunch of laps in a row, the pump side gets low and it starts cutting out. So what we're gonna do to fix this is to install a second pump on the side where there's currently not a pump. Now this is gonna serve a couple purposes. One is it's going to get rid of the fuel slosh issue, and then the other thing is it'll act as a backup pump. So I'm going to use the same exact pump that I have now, which is fully capable of running the car on the power level it is by itself. So I'll have 2 of those. So if one of them fails, at least the other one should still work long enough to get me through a run. It could end up having fuel slosh if only one of them's working, but it'll probably at least get me through the rest of the run so that I don't take myself out of battle. I'll show you guys how I'm going to install this second pump and how I'm going to connect it to the engine here in a little bit. But first things first, we got to pull both sides of the tank, the top hats out, and see what we're working with. So I'm not sure if there's a way to install the pump in the factory housing on the non-pump side. I might have to get a second housing, a second pump side housing to put on the non-pump side, but we'll pull it apart and see what it looks like. So it definitely looks like we only have the sending unit connector. There should be a second connector for the pump itself, so we'll have to figure out how we're going to fix that. But first things first, I want to get this pulled out, so we have to turn this, disconnect the lines, and then we can pull the housing out. Okay, so here is the non-pump side housing. As you can see, all it's got is the sending unit and then the tubes for the siphon. So there's not a way to attach a pump to this, nor is there a connector on the top. So we're gonna have to get another one of these off of the pump side of a different car to put in this one's place. But in the meantime, we're gonna get the other side out, the side that has the pump, and start testing the sending units and seeing why those aren't working. Well, that explains why my sending unit's not working. It's just floating around in the tank, not connected anymore. So that's cool. Looks like somehow it got ripped off of here. I'm not sure how, but I'll see if I can find a way to fix it. If not, I guess it looks like I need 2 of the pump housings. Alright, so we got our new pump housings. Now these were pretty cheap on Amazon, I think maybe $50 a piece. They did come with the factory E36 fuel pump, which obviously we're not going to use. We're going to use the upgraded Walbros. But it was just easiest to order them with the pumps, so we'll take these pumps out, swap the Walbros in, and maybe save these other pumps for something in the future. So we're gonna start with the one that I already had put together, because that'll be the easiest. So we could use the factory connector that comes in the pump housing and just cut off the connector and splice wires inside the pump. They make fuel safe butt connectors. They'd be totally fine, but I prefer to just hammer these out, which leaves you with two little holes that are the perfect size for the new wire to go through, just like on this one. So we can actually de-pin this connector, run the wires through the holes, and then re-pin it. And then we've got a perfect connection with no butt connectors or splices or anything. So apparently the pump housings I got aren't quite the same as what my car had. You can see the fuel pump holder are two completely different sizes. My old one was a lot bigger, which fit the Walbro pump. This one doesn't. And actually the old one was too big. I had to put some little pieces of foam in there to try to keep it tight, and it didn't work very well. So I've got an idea to use this one that might actually work better. So I'm gonna try that out real quick. First things first, we need to cut off the bottom here so that the pump can actually go all the way through. And then what I need to do is just cut a slit in it all the way down so that I can open it up. I'll open it up, put it around the pump, and then put a hose clamp around it and squeeze it tight. And that should hold the pump in there tight, hopefully. I don't think I want to cut it down with side cutters like I did the bottom, because the plastic's just going to crack. So I'm going to probably use a Sawzall. Alright, I changed my mind. I figured a Sawzall with the reciprocating action would be too aggressive, possibly break it. So I just used a cutoff wheel real quick, which worked really nice. So now, should be able to get the pump in there. Need to hack off these legs some because the bottom of the pump is bigger, so they need to go away. Oh yeah, that should work perfect. I did have to cut off the little tabs that hold the factory pump in because it wasn't letting this pump go up high enough. It is just a little bit taller, but it should work just like this. Alright, there we have it. We've got one pump housing ready to go in. I did have to cut the wires on this one. We'll need a couple butt connectors. Because this is the old pump, I've already used the crimp terminals that come with the new pump, so you can't reuse those. And I don't have any more new ones other than the ones that I need for the new pump, so we'll just have to cut those, put a couple butt connectors, no big deal. Alright, so we got both pumps installed and we ran the wiring for the second pump Just to show you guys the way it's routed real quick. Basically, these are the return lines. The larger nipple is the return. So those are teed so that both return lines tee to the return line from the engine. And then same way with the feed. We've got the feed line coming over to here. And then it's teed so that both feeds are going to the engine. And then I went ahead and installed a second relay and inline fuse for the new pump. It's always a good idea to have a dedicated fuse and relay that gets power close to the battery for the fuel pumps. That way you don't have to worry about any voltage drop. Now, I probably could have ran both pumps off of my original dedicated circuit, but they're cheap enough. I figured I might as well just put a second one in, and it was super easy to wire up. So we've got it all hooked up. I guess now it's time to test it. I want to turn the key on first and make sure the fuel pressure isn't different. I don't know with this setup if it's going to be more fuel pressure, less fuel pressure. I am a little concerned that the T's will do funny things because essentially you could have one pump just pressurizing the other pump instead of them actually going straight to the engine. Who knows what path the fuel is actually going to take. I'm no engineer. But I have seen people recommend to do it this way, so it should work. I would think other people have had success with it, so we're going to hook up the battery, turn the key on, and see what we get for fuel pressure. Hopefully the battery's not dead. It's pretty dead. Alright, so the battery was dead, but I put the battery charger on it for a couple minutes and then the car fired right up. Fuel pressure's looking good, right about what it was before. It does sound like there's a lot more flow, so we'll see. It might be too rich now, but we'll just have to check the AFRs after driving it and find out. I checked both fuel pumps to test it to make sure they were both working. I just unplugged one, and you could hear that the other was still running, and you could tell that the one I unplugged stopped running. So they're both working. There's no leaks, so I think we're ready to button it all up. Oh, and also the fuel gauge works now. So hopefully I don't forget to put gas in it again. All right, so I think everything's working good. We won't really know until we get it to the track and test it. But that's gonna do it for this one. As always, I wait till the last minute to do everything. So it's 9 o'clock at night, the night before I have to leave to go to the track. And I've still gotta load up the car, pack up all my tools, and get everything ready to go. So I'm gonna get all that done and get everything ready so we can hit the road tomorrow. So I'll see you guys next time for DTP round 2.